Welcome everyone. Nice to have you all here. And as we always do, we're going to start off by talking a little bit about meditation practice and then get into the real thing afterwards. So yesterday I was talking about the idea of freedom in Buddhism. It's kind of fascinating when you read the suttas, you read the word of the Buddha. There's a fairly large number of words that deal with the idea of freedom and liberation and release and kind of similar concepts. So it's a very important part of what we think about as the path of Buddhism, and especially the path of meditation practice. When we talk about freedom, very often it means the freedom of the mind, ceto vimutti, it is called in Pali. And the whole path really is geared toward this beautiful idea of liberating yourself, freeing yourself. I don't know about you, but to me there's something very compelling and powerful about this idea of freedom. Not being a slave, not being in prison, not being controlled by the world outside or whatever, but moving towards a mind that is free from all of these constraints and limitations of the world. That is what this path really is about. The idea here is, by understanding what the teaching of the Buddha really is about, understanding some of these concepts that was used by the Buddha to explain the experiential aspect of the path. And freedom, of course, is really an experiential thing at the end of the day. By doing that, we are kind of contemplating and getting inspired by the Dhamma. It's what they call a kind of Dhamma anusati, a recollection of the Dhamma, recollection of these teachings. And that, when it's done in the right way, can be incredibly inspiring, very uplifting. It can be something that kind of aids you in the meditation process itself. So by understanding what this practice is about, understanding where the meditation is leading, you actually can straight away create some good qualities within that will aid the meditation practice itself. And this is such an important part of the meditation. Clearing the mind, making the mind ready, and enabling it to, do things like following the breath or practicing compassion or metta and these kind of things. So try to use some of these ideas, liberation, freedom. What does it mean? And what it means is the mind that is freed from all the ordinary limitations of the world, the limitations of all the burdens in life, the limitations of all the things that we have to do that burden down the mind, that you get obsessed about, that you think about all the time, going round and round because you can't find solution to certain problems or things that are too important to you, you can't really let it go. These are burdens, these are limitations, these are imprisonments that we find in our own life, in our own minds. And so this is kind of the first stage of things that we let go of in the meditation. The first kind of freedom, when we let go of the ordinary world that so obsesses us, all the things basically outside, apart from the spiritual practice. And then as you take it deeper, you get rid of more and more, you let go of more and more of these qualities of the mind that limit you, that imprison you, that stop the mind from expanding and kind of encompassing the whole world, taking in all beings everywhere and having a sense of, feeling of almost like a unity. It's not really unity in Buddhism, but it's that feeling where everyone is encompassed in your mind. Everyone is kind of taken within the field of your compassion, understanding. And these are very beautiful ideas when you start to experience them in a personal way. And so one of the very important things that we overcome in Buddhism is the idea, being limited by the five senses. When you are right here, right now, you are seeing the world. Well, that seeing is a kind of limitation of the mind. When you see, the seeing can only be so many things. But if you really want to have a mind that is really still, really peaceful, really expansive, you have to go away beyond the limits of the eye and the seeing and sights. You have to go beyond hearing, because this continuous movement of sound in the ear, always changing, always moving, always happening with certain limits. You have to let go of those things. And as you let go of those things of the five senses. It's as if the mind is allowed to expand, to be liberated from that, and to be able to feel feelings and states of mind that ordinarily you're not really able to access. The same thing with the other things that we normally call the five hindrances. The tiredness and lethargy, that's kind of an imprisonment of the mind, as it says in the suttas. The mind that is bright, that is clear, that doesn't have that contractedness of being lethargic or whatever, is a far more beautiful and interesting mind than the mind which is contracted by tiredness and lethargy. The restlessness and the agitation that we often have in the world, especially the modern world where there's so much things going on all the time on the internet, the mobile phones or whatever. It's a continuous restlessness, a continuous agitation, and that is like being a slave to something. And the moment you find peace, the moment you let go of that, it's like, wow, now I understand what is really interesting in this world, what actually really matters, what actually, this has a sense of liberation to it when you let go of these things. So all of these are just reminders as you start out in a meditation what this path really is about. It's a freeing of yourself, getting out of that prison of the ordinary perceptions, the ordinary ways of looking at the world, and letting go of prison. Who wants to be in prison? Right? No one wants to be in prison. That's why people put them in prison, because they don't want to be there. Otherwise, prison wouldn't work if everyone wanted to be there. But so you want to get out of those prisons, and the worst prisons in the world are not the physical prisons. The worst prisons in the world are the mental prisons, where we inhabit voluntarily because we don't really understand that they are prisons. So we're coming out of all of that, which includes all the negative feelings that come with that, all the remorse, the negativity, the sadness, the depressions, all of that is included within that realm. And now we're letting go of that, moving away. So the Buddha's teachings are very inspiring. And the more you understand what they actually mean, the various ways to look at them, the various ways to relate to them, just by thinking about the teachings in the right way, already you are inspired. Already your mind is leaning in the right direction. Already you are kind of on the path of meditation because of that. So try to see if you can find some inspiration in these teachings that kind of lift you up, elevate you, brighten the mind, and give you that initial spark that makes the meditation possible. So let's give it a try in practice. Okay, so every time you come to the meditation practice, it's always useful to have a very standard kind of routine, a routine that works for you. Sometimes you go through it fast, sometimes more slowly, but just making sure that all the foundational things are there. The foundational things are always the most important ones. So just learning to relax, learning to be at ease, not having any pains, not having any stresses in the mind and the body. Just getting that right is already very, very nice and very pleasant and very positive thing here. So give yourself time to start out in a good way. And the more relaxed you can be at the beginning, the more at ease you can be in your mind, the more naturally the meditation tends to flow from that point. So give yourself time to find that balance within. if you can, just allow the meditation to build up almost automatically by itself. And sometimes you need to brighten the mind a little bit, and an easy way of doing that is just to have a sense of appreciation and gratitude, being part of a community such as this, having available these marvelous teachings of the Buddha, whatever it is that lifts you up a little bit. When you are already part of this environment, it is not that difficult to do. Gently leaning your mind in the right direction towards that sense of appreciation, brightening up the mind. So know yourself, know what you need, and then allow the path to follow accordingly. And again, if you do find that the mind is too active, too many thoughts going on, a very common problem, then again try this inspiration in the Dhamma, understanding that the real freedom is found on this path, in the meditation practice. In the world there's just more of the same. There's no real release in that world outside, just going round and round, back to the same things again and again and again. It is in the path of meditation, the path of Buddhism, that you find a release from these things. So enough of all of those things. Now is the time to come to peace, to find the only place where you find a solution to all the issues of life, all the problems of existence. Okay, so now just spend a few moments just to review your meditation before you come out, just to have some idea how this path works, what it means to let go, what it means to perceive things in a good way, and how that leads to the good qualities of meditation practice. Okay, everyone, so that is the meditation for today. So now, if you do have any questions or comments, now is a good time. Thank you, great. Yeah. Okay, everyone seems to be content, which is wonderful. So we'll move on to the questions from outside of the center here. Let's see what we have. Okay, so the first question is from Germany. Please elaborate on kindness. How does it feel? How to intensify it and how to generate it, and how to keep it and make it grow? How long till the Dhamma turns? How long till the Dhamma turns flesh and blood? Anyway, so how to elaborate? So basically, kindness just means treating other people well. And not just avoiding doing the bad things, but actually deliberately do acts of kindness, like, acts of compassion, acts of generosity, acts of caring, acts of supporting others, speaking kind words, thinking kind thoughts. All of these things are part of the idea of kindness. What it feels like you're friendly towards somebody. It feels like you have compassion towards somebody. It feels, you can use the word love if you like, the sense of having a very kind of affection for somebody. All of these things are kind of ideas of kindness. And very often the way you train it up is through acting that way. By acting in ways of kindness, you actually build up these feelings. When you treat someone well, the reason why you do that is because you see them as a friend, you see them as someone worthy of kindness, etc., etc. So you just build it up through your actions, and then the feelings tend to come along as you do that. And ultimately, the idea of kindness is kind of is fulfilled or completed through things like metta meditation. Metta literally means friendliness or love, if you like. These are kind of the words that this is about. So friendliness is the opposite of hostility, the anti-ill will, if you like. When you feel positive towards somebody else. That's basically what it is. And you grow it by treating people in the right way. Okay, second one is the question from Indonesia. You mentioned meditation is like going home to a couch after a long working day, relax and let go. After body is relaxed, how should we proceed, and how does mindfulness play a role? So the idea, the reason why I say that is not necessarily a couch, but like, you're sitting down doing nothing. And very often people don't know what it means to do nothing. Sometimes they think you make yourself do nothing. You kind of force yourself, okay, now you don't do anything. But actually that's not doing nothing, that's trying to do nothing. And that's kind of different. So you need to have some metaphor or some idea what it actually means. And one of the ways of thinking about it is like after a long day's work, you are tired, you're exhausted, and you sit down, just to relax. What do you do when you sit down to relax after a long day's work? Well, that is essentially what you do in meditation. In other words, you don't do anything. You don't force yourself to relax. You don't say, "Oh, relax, relax." You're tired, so you just sit there and you kind of allow things to be, and you allow the mind to churn and to think and to do whatever it has to do. And after a while, it's like your energy comes back again. And meditation is a bit like that. It's about just waiting. It's about allowing things to calm down, sitting back, allowing the tiredness or whatever to kind of work itself out of the system, or the restlessness or whatever it is. And so it's learning to think about these things in the right way. Another kind of nice metaphor that I sometimes use is like watching something beautiful like a sunset. What do you do when you watch a sunset? Well, you don't do anything. You just watch. And you then allow things to be. And because a sunset is something that is attractive, you can watch it without doing anything. You are mindful because it is attractive. And meditation is a bit like that. You don't force the mindfulness, but you are mindful because you are enjoying what you're doing. So learning to enjoy the meditation is kind of fundamental to be able to sustain the mindfulness, to be aware of what is going on. If you don't enjoy it, it's impossible to be mindful. And that's why, all of these lot of these little things that we do are geared towards enjoyment. This is also one of the reasons why kindness is such an important part of the path. This is why Ajahn Brahmali uses the word like kindfulness. Kindness and mindfulness together, because kindness feels good. When you're kind, it feels gentle, it feels soft, it feels friendly, it feels positive, it feels compassionate. It has all of these positive feelings that come with it, and that makes the meditation work. It makes it possible to stay in the present without the mind kind of moving around. Question from the UK. Can meditation help with ill will? I have to deal with awful people in my day-to-day life, but I'm aware that anger is a flame that burns us, and not the person who triggers it. Thank you. Yes, it can, but ill will has a lot, a big part of that is to learn to see people in the right way, perceive people in the right way. It's a very important part of this practice of, kind of training the mind in the right way. So you have to learn to see people as, as these automatons, these things that are blind, things that don't really understand anything. You don't understand how the world works. If people treat you badly and they do awful things, actually it is really their problem. They are the ones who are foolish. And once you understand that they are foolish, you don't have to take it so seriously anymore. I like the idea, it's a bit like red lights. If you thought the light became red because the light saw you and you think, I will get that person, you might have reason for getting angry with that red light. But red lights don't work like that. Red lights become red every 2 minutes because of the circuitry or whatever, or maybe some sensor, I don't know what. But it's not really out to get you. That's not how red lights work. In the same way, people are not really out to get you. They are, they do bad things because of their own inner demons, their own inner problems. That's why they do bad things. And so once you understand that, you understand actually they are trapped. They are trapped in those bad habits. They are trapped in that stupidity. And once you understand that they are trapped, you turn the table. Instead of getting angry, you have compassion for them because you realize they are the ones who have the problem, not you. And they are probably suffering already and creating more suffering for the future. And so we have to get out of this idea of people having free will and choosing to be bad. That's not really how it works. People don't choose to be bad. People usually want to be nice. We all know that kindness is a positive thing. And then if they can't be kind, even when they know they should be kind, well then they are worthy of compassion because they are trapped in some very unfortunate patterns or habits in their life. So this is how you turn the mind around. You think about things in a different way. Can meditation help you overcome? To some extent. Depends on what kind of meditation you do. Start out, if you have ill will before the meditation, don't sit down with the ill will and try to watch your breath. First of all, overcome that ill will by thinking in the right way, perceiving in the right way. When you feel at ease, you have compassion for the whole world and you don't feel any anger, then you can start watching the breath. Don't watch the breath with these defilements in the mind. Why? Because it just messes up your mind if you do that. You kind of suppress it, it's still there under the surface, and it leads to all kind of problems if you try to do it that way. The Buddha specifically says in the sutras that mindfulness does not overcome ill will. It is metta, friendliness, love, compassion. That is what overcomes ill will. So first of all, you put your mind in the right space, then you are mindful, then you practice the mindfulness of breathing or whatever else it is. Okay, everyone, that is all for today. So I wish you all a lovely rest of the weekend, and let's just pay homage to the Buddha Dhamma Sangha.